I will now guide you through lesson 7 on the lesson guide. Remember to leave at least a day since completing lesson 6. The first task is the spelling list test for most used words 51 to 100. This is where we dictate words for our student to spell, to write down on paper. We'll turn to page 39. So here on page 39 we have most used words 51 to 100 in lists. So we simply take the book and dictate for our student to write the words on paper. Mark the words on the paper with a tick or a dot and then record the results back here in the list test column opposite the words. So place a tick or a dot as appropriate in the list test column for these words. The next thing we need to do is to once again test our students' reading of most used words 51 to 100 because these words need a second tick. So we turn to page 33 on the sus3 pages and work down the second column. Place a date at the top and tick or dot your students' reading of these words as outlined previously. Work on the negatives, the dotted words, before you leave the page using the sus3 technique. Your student can now leave. Then the tutor needs to write the negatives onto the new control page, the negatives from the list test which we have just done. Page 54 is the control page for most used words 51 to 100. So look at page 39, the list test. Write down the dotted words, the negatives, in the grey shaded area of page 54. After this, turn to the dictated sentences for most used words 51 to 100 that your student wrote on a previous lesson. Underline the errors and transfer any additional negatives to the same control page, page 54. So be clear about this. Remember that the words from the list test have already, the negatives from the list test have already been written on page 54. So you're just transferring additional negatives. In other words, spellings that your student got wrong in the sentences but may have got right in the list test.